You're listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Sit back, enjoy the show. How's everybody doing? Paul Apostolakis. We've got Brad Weisgerber on today. Salvatore Cusmano could not be on the show, unfortunately. He is under the weather. He was like, I'm sorry, I can't make it, Brad. And I was like, you've got like 99% perfect attendance. You're fine, right? Right. So although we'll miss him, we do have a much better upgrade and replacement in Jamie Cavanaugh, who's going to be coming on the show. She is a real badass. I met her at an AIM event that we had here locally that they did a virtual conference on, and I got the pleasure of spending some time with her. I was like, she's smart as shit. So I'm going to get her on the show. But before we get started, for everybody that's listening, please go ahead and subscribe, review our show. It really helps us out. We'd love to hear, what you think of the show. If you think it's shitty, don't say anything. I appreciate that. Go to irepodcast.com. Go to Facebook/IRE podcast. You can go to any podcast app to find us. If you want to watch us live, we do it live on Facebook, so you can kind of see what we're doing live. I don't know why we'd want to do that. But people do, which is interesting. So today I want to bring up Jamie Cavanaugh. She is the COO of Amerifund. Did I say that right? Let me make sure I got that right. Amerifund Home Loans. How are you, Jamie?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Good. Jamie's super pissed at me right now because I totally forgot that she's like West Coast and it's like super early. And Jamie has a drinking problem, so she has a hard time getting up in the morning.
My drinking problem is that I haven't had enough coffee yet in my
There you go.
I'm working on that.
So, yeah, Jamie obviously has got a really good background. She's been in the industry for a long time. She's kind of seen, anybody that's been in the industry for like 10, 15, 20 years has really seen a lot of things change and a lot of things not change, surprisingly, that need to be changed. But so I really want to get your perspective, Jamie, on, where you started, where you are today, and where you see everything going. So welcome to the show. I'm glad you made it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we met here at the AIM event. I know you're involved with AIM quite a bit, and it was a cool event. A lot of smart people. So talk to me how like you felt about that event. How you feel about AIM? Is it adding enough value for everybody that's in the broker world? Like I feel like they do a very good job, but I want to hear from you kind of what you feel about them and what your role is with AIM that you feel that you can add.
Yeah, for sure. I'm obviously a huge cheerleader. I only really learned about AIM about probably like year and a half ago. And as soon as I heard about this guy that was out there scrapping for brokers and started to kind of like hone in on who this Anthony Causa guy was and started paying attention a little bit, right? Immediately I knew he was my people because I'm all about, about questioning the status quo and about standing up for the little guy. But what I think resonated with me the most was, I've been in the business like 23 years, and back before the mortgage meltdown hit, I remember so vividly coming up in the business and just not having anybody to ask questions to and like nobody to rely on. And it was like a dog eat dog world, and it was every man and woman for themselves. Like there was no camaraderie. There was no help each other out. Right. I mean,
it was like eat or be eaten, right? Eat or be eaten. That's what it was.
There's nothing. And so I immediately realized, like, as soon as I joined the Facebook group, wow, these people like actually help each other. I mean, people like, there's a couple of brokers that I'm really good friends with that are down the street from me. They're like 10 miles away, and they're the first people to jump in and help me and vice versa. And I was like, this is no joke. So I kind of hung out for a while and just watched. And I realized, no, this is genuine. These people really, really want to help each other. And I'm in the same position. I mean, I've been in this business long enough. I don't care. I don't really need to compete. I mean, none of us really do. There's enough business out here for everybody. If you feel like you need to compete with the guy next to you, then get out, because there's like $3.5
dude. So true, right? Because we talk about this, Brad, all the time. It's like, we don't own our back. I always say my whole thing is I want to own our backyard, right? And we don't have 10% market share, right? Like there's a lot of transactions that we're not even near, right? So for me to worry about the guy down the road and what they're doing and what I like, that doesn't do me any good, because there's so much other abundance, right? There's business everywhere. And when people have scarcity mindset, it's like they're my nuts. They're my nuts, my nuts. Yeah. Right. Like Brad, you've noticed that.
Yeah, I mean the pie is so big, everyone can eat, man. You don't have to like talk bad about other brokers. You don't have to try to beat them down. Share the wealth, man. There's business out there for everyone. If you don't get the business, you should have played better.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And then I start thinking, about how many times I've had a customer call me because they got something in the mail. The typical situation.
Right.
The retail stuff. And I think about all the times I've been shopped by somebody and they're competing with retail, and the retail, loan officer doesn't know what they're doing. It's the thing we've all experienced. And I'm like, wait a minute. If I'm competing with somebody, I'm competing to give my customer the best advice, and I'm competing against the untrained, call center that isn't giving my customer the best experience and isn't really out there for the consumer. That's who I'm really up against. So here's this organization that's actually out there to help not only the consumer, but to further the independent mortgage broker. And I was like, I am all in for this. This is it.
You felt like at home, right?
Totally, completely. For the first time in 2 decades, right?
Yeah. And I can speak to that, right? Like, Jamie, you and I didn't know each other before the event, really. We never really talked. And lo and behold, I see at the event, we have a good time, and I'm like, let me get this girl on the show. Now we're here, right? And there's nothing like better than being able to share ideas with people that are in the same industry, because our industry is fucked in so many ways that we really banding together is a big deal, right? Like, it helps. So just to give people perspective, why don't we talk about, just give the background of Jamie Cavanaugh. First of all, the question that always, like, anybody that goes into real estate or mortgages, it's like, how did you end up there? Nobody plans on doing mortgages, right, for their life. Nobody does. So talk to me about how you got into the business.
So who do I have to blame? Well,
yeah, basically.
My mom was a real estate agent. So I grew up, getting dragged to open houses and, getting stuck stopping on street corners in the city on Saturdays and sticking open house signs out on, neighborhoods and whatever else.
Yeah.
Putting out the cookies and the refreshments and sitting there for 4 hours, which was, an experience. I realized I didn't want to be a real estate agent. That much I can tell you.
Why? So that's interesting. That everybody always says that, right? Like, oh, it'd be grass is greener over there. So why didn't you want to be a real estate agent?
I actually did try it after the mortgage meltdown. My mom convinced me to partner with her for a little while. You know what? I'm not into the schlepping around and showing properties and, going over.
Yeah. You're at the mercy of the client sometimes, right?
I like the analysis of putting the puzzle together and figuring out what the right program is for a customer, and the story of every loan and how different it can be and what the right fit is for each client, no matter what loan type it is, and especially the tough ones where you're like, oh, this doesn't seem like it's going to work, and how you just get it in right under the mark on the DTI, and you figure out how to extract that little tiny bit of income from somewhere that gets it approved,
Yeah.
You make it sound so adventurous.
It sounds so exciting.
I went through tax returns and I found a depreciation. I added back 14 cents and we're at 44%, baby.
The mileage.
Right.
Yeah,
so, okay.
Wild life, guys.
Yeah. So you said screw real estate agent wise. And then you said, I'm going to finance the property. So where did you go to start working in the mortgage industry? That's the first question, right?
Yep. So my mom's real estate company had a sister company that was a mortgage broker. And so one of the loan officers said, I could use an LOA and a telemarketer. So I was in high school. So after school, I would literally go and just work, a couple hours an afternoon and telemarket. I was a telemarketer, hated it, but did it and didn't do too bad actually. And did that. And then after high school, while I was in college, I would actually, become a setup LOA person, and I would learn how to do all the paperwork stuff. And after high school, while I was in college, I started the junior processor thing, and I literally worked my way through all of the positions in ops, junior, senior,
which is a really healthy way to do it, by the way, because you learn the whole back end, right?
Yep. And then in 2000, I met the man who's now my partner, and we started to build a company. So we started to build what became a whole fairly large wholesale company. We had licensing in 43 states. We had a 20,000 square foot office building.
Wow. That's a big operation, dude.
It was a big deal. I was 23 and I was running ops for him for that.
That's wild.
And then it imploded in 08. So I kind of
money dried up. So let's talk about that, just so everybody understands. Like if like when that liquidity dried up, the first people that got annihilated were like the correspondents or brokers, right? They were the ones that were relying on Countrywide, on so and so to give us their lines of credit. And when they turned around and they said, "Yeah, we're not going to do that anymore," it was like there was this void, there was this chasm of like catastrophe in the mortgage market where like overnight the broker model disappeared, right?
Yeah, I did. I was there. I mean, I was there with people who had worked for me for, 8 years, single moms with rent to pay, people who had families. And I was there every day watching one warehouse line after another start to tighten up on us, and one investor after another start to pull back on guidelines. In many cases, when we had loans already funded sitting on the line, unable to be sold. So at that time, we were already selling direct to Wall Street. We had, master service with Fannie and Freddie. We had the only hard money warehouse line in California at the time because of our reputation.
Wow.
We were doing all kinds of cool stuff. And it was a total trip. I cannot even begin to tell you what that was like. And to be in your like early mid 20s trying to process all that was something I'll never forget.
But Jamie, tell me that wasn't some of the best experience today, looking back on it, to be able to live through that, understand what happened from an intimate situation. Having that adversity was I think that's really valuable. But I also want the audience to understand, in 2008, people are like, oh, there was like the implodometer, right? Well, It was like, dude, listen, there's a lot of good companies that went under because they had no choice, because nobody was funding shit, right? You lost your credit lines overnight. And you've got loans sitting on your line that you can't fund. You got to take a scratch and dent. Then you're getting 80%, right? So like there's a whole cascade of events, and that's why we saw the mortgage. We were the linchpin. Well, not we. I was actually working retail at the time, but the mortgage broker was the linchpin to the crash because they were blaming the broker for a lot of the bad loans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which was bullshit. Because I wrote a lot of bad loans, just so you know.
Yeah, the broker took all the blame because they were the scapegoat because they didn't have a voice.
Right.
There was no collective voice to come back and say, no, it's not us, right? So they took all the blame and they went bye-bye overnight.
So, yeah, absolutely. So Jamie, that blows up. Obviously, we know what happened then there. What do you do now? You're 24, you said?
Yeah, I think by that time, because it had spanned such a long period of time, I think I was like probably getting close to 30. Just because life is so exciting, I was also going through a divorce.
Oh, so awesome. Congratulations.
Life just was like, here you go. Let me just put it on for you.
Yeah.
So, talk about learning resilience, talk about reinvention, talk about all that. I was going through a divorce. So I actually just kind of said, okay, I'm just going to start. Thank God I was smart enough to put away some funds so I didn't have to panic too much. And I was able to kind of like really take a minute and breathe and go, okay, what do I want to do? So the good news is, remember all that ops experience I told you about?
Uh-huh.
So the good news is that Countrywide, which was about to become Bank of America, recruited me and said, look, we need somebody to run the foreclosure side of our department. Now we have a huge portfolio of all these properties that have been foreclosed. So there's a company called Taylor Bean and Whitaker that was very famous for having basically ate shit. And they had something like, 6,000 properties that HUD needed them to, they were FHA lenders. Basically, Bank of America was a trusted HUD lender. And HUD said, take all of these Taylor Bean and Whitaker properties. I need them all
redone.
Basically, I need you to rehabilitate all of them so that we can reconvey them and get them sold.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I need you to build a team. I need you to hire like 60 people and build a department, and I need you to take all these
dude
properties.
That's a pretty big undertaking at that time.
Big deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that. So at least I had something to sink my teeth into and to kind of like regroup. So I did that, and it kept me busy for a couple of years. Just, kind of did that for a while. And then I went over to a company called Prospect Mortgage, which is now Homebridge. And I ran their government insuring department and post-closing and kind of just helped them with the loan sales and the insuring of the FHA and the VA stuff. And then, of course, my old partner, who wasn't my partner back then, called me in 2014. He'd been calling me for about a year. And he's like, I think I kind of maybe want to start something again. I'm like, I think I kind of want to maybe talk about how that's going to look, because it's not going to look anything like it looked 10, 12 years ago.
You wanted to redo it, right? You wanted to have something different. Absolutely. So what did you want that was different? I'm just curious.
Well, at this point, now I was, in my, mid to late 30s. Now I had a 1-year-old. I had met and married a wonderful person who is my husband today. I was in a different place in life completely. And so work-life balance was a big deal. I wasn't going to kill myself anymore. Of course, I say that.
Yeah, because we grew up killing ourselves in the business, and it's like, I don't want to do that, right?
The grind. And of course, now I'm grinding it away again. But anyway.
Yeah.
Are we not like gluttons for punishment? Like, is that not?
Anybody in the mortgage industry likes to self-flog themselves. Like we go back into it. Like I left the industry once and I came back to it. It's like a bad relationship I can't get out of, but that like gives me a lot of money.
Back in, like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
When we talked about like a lot about kind of what that was going to look like, and he's like, I'm in the same. Look, we're both older and wiser now. It's not going to be like that. And the other thing he said, I don't ever want to do the big giant operation that we had before. Let's be brokers like we originally were way back in 99, 2000. Let's just be brokers. And so like, that is exactly what I want. Let's do a lot with a smaller team. Let's do it. And so we did. We started that. And so all of that happening, and then me kind of like discovering AIM and all of my history and all of what I'd been through with the crash, it was like these people get it. They get it. And I have all of this history and all this passion for brokers and this understanding of the struggle that so many of us went through. It was a match made in heaven. And that's why I'm so passionate about the group and about brokers.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
So where are you guys at now? Are you guys still the small broker, or have you expanded?
Well, I have 12 people now on the team, so we're not quite as small as 5 or 60. So yeah, we're not small. It's, it seems like no matter what we do, it just keeps happening. But I have, what I've done this time is we've designed a, like an in-house LO model, which is working really well for us. So everything, all of the business is driven by us, by our company, our database, our marketing efforts. So our LOs are in-house, and they're all salaried, sitting here.
They're working the circle of people or the leads that you have, right? That's interesting, because our business, interestingly enough, and Brad, you know this, there's so many ways to make money in our business, right? You can do lower FICO stuff. You could do leads. You could do sphere of influence. You could do beat the streets. You could do the real estate connections. There's so many different ways to get business. So what is your strategy, Jamie? I know that you mentioned that you got your database and all that. So how are you marketing yourself? How are you getting the clientele? What is your strategy to earn clients right now?
It's multifaceted. Number one, we actually are having some success with the Lead Pops Facebook stuff. So I'm doing several different ads for targeting different things. So I've got like a hybrid UWM ad running. I've got some purchase ads, some refi ads. Those are all producing nicely for me. I have my social stuff. So I put out, value every week without an ask. And that goes out to not only our database, but also just socials. And we get some decent response from that. Recently started doing some more community involvement stuff. I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm doing local radio. I just started that. In my community, which is kind of old school. It works. So a little bit of that. And then I'm actually starting to expand out into other states again, which is something that's been on my agenda for a while. So
it sounds like you're saying small, Jamie.
Yeah. Small broker shop.
You can't sit still, dude. If you see an opportunity, you're going to take it.
Especially right now, because it's my job with people working for me now. Like now I have a responsibility to go, okay, look, we got like at least 12 months of runway, knock on wood, with this market. So now it's my job to say everything I do today is what's going to hedge us against the refis not being there. So what else am I going to do to diversify so that we still have plenty of things coming in?
That's good, because you have forward thinking. You think long, right? Like you want to be around for 15, 20 years and have a healthy business and take care of your people. But the reality is, Jamie, that a lot of people in our industry think short, right? And there is so much money to be made in our industry that it's hard to not take the low-lying fruit and then plant other seeds while you're doing that, because a lot of people are just hoarding all the low-lying fruit with no thought, what happens when I eat all this fruit and it's all gone, right? So to your point, I agree with you. Rates are really low right now, right? And if anybody buys or refinances today, the chances of them refinancing is smaller in the future, right? We're not going to have this cascade from 7% all the way down to 3% over 15 years, where you're going to be able to walk the ladder down with a lot of your clients. Like, think about how many clients since you've been in the business has refinanced or bought houses multiple times, right?
Yep.
So the reality is I don't think that's going to be around the same way, because so are you focusing on purchase business? And if you are, how are you attacking that?
Yeah, it's a really big push on not forgetting about our existing referral partners, our realtors. We actually get a fair bit of business from financial planners and CPAs as well, and
Fair.
we market to them heavily.
Yeah.
So not forgetting about them. You know, part of why I designed the program where we have the in-house LOs is also so that they can focus on the low-hanging fruit while I'm doing all of the marketing and all of the interfacing with the referral partners, because I need to make sure those people aren't getting left in the dust during the refi boom. So yeah, hey, let the guys on the front lines keep doing this with all the refis and all this stuff, but don't forget about marketing to those people that have been giving you business, and keep going out and grabbing more relationships with those individuals. It's important. It has to happen. The business building activities can't stop. They cannot stop no matter how busy we get with the refis.
That's super fair. And so many, Brad, we know this. We've seen it all the time. Companies get so fat and happy on refinances. The moment rates go up, those go away. Like I look at it from a real estate agent perspective. When rates are up, their phone's ringing off the hook. Hey, I'm a lender. Let's go get coffee. Hey, let's go do this. Hey, I'm going to do this for you. Hey, rates go down.
They got bagels and donuts in their office every day.
Yeah, but rates go down. They're like that volume of people that they're trying to get a hold of them is gone. So I see that as an opportunity. Like, I want to be where people aren't.
Calling them, hey, how are you? And they're like, wow, you're the only broker that's called me this week.
Yeah, because they're fat and happy. And when people are fat and happy, they get lazy and they don't look forward. So I appreciate that mentality where you're not just sitting idle enjoying the riches while you're not really putting any foresight into the future, because dude, the market's going to shift and there's going to be fallout. And if you're not thinking about where you're going, you're going to get left in the dust. And we've seen it. So I think we understand it because we've lived through it. But a lot of these younger guys and girls that don't understand, like A, work when you can, because get it when you can, because it could be gone. B, make sure you're working on your business, not just in your business, right?
Yeah, I mean, the mortgage industry is going to change dramatically as far as where business comes from and the type of business you get, because there's still going to be refis, right? Don't get me wrong. People have to refinance for whatever reason, but the amount of refis that we've been seeing for the last 10 years, refi boom after refi boom, with rates coming down and down and down, there's no place for rates to go down really any further. So when rates start going back up, refis are going to be very slim, and you're going to see a lot of shops closing up, and a lot of people moving, because they just can't, they're not built to scrap for purchase business. They have no relationships built because they've been getting fat, and our industry is going to change a lot, I think.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, it's happened before, but I think the scale that we're going to see it happen on this time around is unlike anything we've seen. The refi boom this time around, at least from my perspective, is unlike anything I've seen, even in the last 2 refi booms I've been through. And so I think that the fallout is also going to be unlike.
It's going to be a hard stop, Jamie. It's going to hit a wall, where there might be a population of people that haven't refinanced, but you got to go find them. It's like remember when HARP came out and everybody could do HARP, but slowly but surely it was like finding a HARP deal was like, oh my God, I found a HARP deal, right? Because there weren't that many left. And even the people that did qualify weren't looking for them, right? And you had to go find them. So it was a much harder prospect. Same thing with refinances. At some point, we're going to be at 4% and everybody's going to be at 2.5% or 3%, right? So what are you going to do in that situation? And I think if you're not looking to build an actual business for the long term, you're going to be fucked.
You are. If you're not already doing what you need to do to hedge against that, you're late.
You're already late. There's people running right now, right? Mm-hmm. That's interesting. I'm glad that you think that way, because not a lot of people do in our business, unfortunately. You know what I mean? And you know what I heard for you say that I think was really cool is you feel like you have a responsibility to your people to work and provide for them, right? As a leader of the company.
Absolutely.
Right.
When I hear people ask me, like, I'm in the AIM Women's Mortgage Network, and I'm getting a lot of individual emails and calls saying, would you mind taking a little time and talking about, maybe some best practices or whatever. So finally the other day I'm like, look, guys, what about a Zoom? What about a Zoom Q&A? Would you guys be interested? Literally like 150 people were like, yes. So I said, okay, fine. We're going to do one. Here, let's talk about the top questions. And some of the top questions were relating to, these kind of business building things. And the thing I preach the most is if you are thinking about opening up your own shop, my best advice to you would be to ask yourself these questions. Are you okay with the responsibility of understanding that people's livelihoods are, to a great extent, solely reliant upon you? I mean, the buck stops with you, and your origination activity is going to go down dramatically because you're going to be dealing with paperwork, guys. It's HR and payroll and compliance reports and a lot of things that you didn't do when you were a top producing loan officer. When a broker owner situation comes in, you guys know this, right?
Just because you're a top producing loan officer and you can make it rain, because we call them rainmakers, right? They a lot of times think I'm gonna open up my business, I'm gonna make way more money, but they don't the time cost, the effort, the paperwork, the legality. Our business is fucking complicated. We're not a burger spot where you just have a good burger and somebody comes and eats it and that's all you got to worry about, right? You can do really good work and still fail, right?
Absolutely.
You can be really smart and still fail. It's super cutthroat. It's hard, right? So like you do have to have some acumen. And if you're just a big time producer, go work somewhere that's going to give you all the tools so you can run, right? Yeah. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're not really built for that. And at the same time, if you are built for it, take the shot because it is very rewarding if you can do it.
It's incredibly rewarding. And then at the end of the day, you're building a company, you're building a business that eventually will, to a certain degree, sustain itself so that you're not necessarily in the trenches anymore. And that's a long game plan. Yeah. And so it just kind of depends on what your agenda is, but there's a trade-off. And I think a lot of people don't see that. And so that's what I try to tell people. Like you gotta be realistic when you're asking yourself these questions and you're deciding whether this is something you really want to do, because it's not exactly what you think it's going to be.
Yeah. And the other side of it, and something that we really, focus on is like company culture, providing our company employees. Like we probably overpay our people, but like we're very keen on making sure our people are taken care of. So I'm kind of curious, Jamie, like for you, you've got 12 LOs, right? You said roughly, right? Okay. So you got a robust team, but all of them are working for you for a reason. And ultimately they're dependent on you, but you're also like, it's very symbiotic, right? Like they're your team. So how do you approach your people and like hiring and who you want to be for them?
Well, I'm very, very blessed and fortunate because at least 4 of the people that are on my team were with me back in like 06, 07 and have come with me to different places. So even when I was at Countrywide and Bank of America, I picked up the phone and said, where are you guys? What are you guys doing? Do you want to come manage with me here? Okay, great. Where are you guys? What are you doing? I'm starting something again. Brad and I are doing something. Come over. And they're here. And so some of these guys have been with me literally 15, 18
wow.
years.
That means you're a pretty good fucking leader, dude, if they want to follow you places, right?
Yeah, that speaks volumes.
It's just the trust, and it's the mutual trust that we have. I mean, some of these people are like an extension of my brain. Like I don't have to explain a lot because we get it, but because of that, of course they're well taken care of, but also everybody that we bring in, the newer people in some of the key roles, the interview process is a group. I mean, they have to be part of that process too.
You got to be good with it. You guys want to, right? Like if you like them, that's cool, but everybody's got to like them, right? They got to be part of the team.
And they have to be, they have to have the same passion for the customer and the experience that the other team members do. No one's going to have the same passion that you do as the owner.
Yeah, but if they have 80% as much, that's good. I'll take it. I'll take 80% all day, right? I always tell Sal, because he's a control freak with his files, and I'm like, Sal, you got to like start passing on for your business so you can like, and I'm like, if they can do it 80% as well as you, that's all right. They're not going to be 100% you, Sal, right? Nobody's going to think like you or hustle. Like it's just not the way the world works. And he gets really frustrated because he's just like, well, I don't understand why they just don't do it, right? Like he's just a very driven person. And, people aren't wired like that. People need to be motivated. That's why leaders exist, right? Like we are leaders because we want to, we help them get their potential, right? We know their potential. Sometimes people don't even know their potential, and you got to push them to get to their potential, right?
That's so true. And you know what the hardest thing is, like, because I'm a control freak too.
I know, I can tell.
Is realizing that there's more than one way to get to the end goal, even if it's your way, and you're like, oh, I could have gotten there faster, but it's okay. You still got there. It's okay.
Yeah. I always say, try it, dude. It's your world. Like, if you feel like you want to try something, go for it. Because you need that learning. Like, even if you fail, I'm good with it because you learned something, right? I don't give a shit. Like, try something, act on something. You know what I can't stand are people that like have all these great ideas and they masturbate over them for years, and they're like, they got to get it perfect. They're like, I got to make a Facebook video and I'm going to write up a script. It's like, no, dude, just do it. And then you'll figure out what you got to do from there, right?
You have to, or having a team full of people that won't make a decision without you. How does that help you, right?
Right.
You're never gonna level up if everybody's dependent upon you because you can't release control. And so, even though I'm a perfectionist, gotta let people fail a little bit and let people stumble a little bit and let people figure it out a little bit. Otherwise, nothing happens. We don't make any progress.
It's so hard as sometimes when I see someone doing something and I'm like, just move out of the way, right? And then I realize I'm doing that. Totally. And I'm like, hold on a second. I got to step back because, I just want to run and take control. It's like you're taking too much time, whatever it is, right? But to your point, there's nothing more important than letting them go through that process. And Brad has failed repeatedly for many years. He just keeps failing and failing and failing. And I don't know when he's going to get better.
Well, that's why I've learned so much. That's why I'm way smarter than you because I failed more.
You're way smarter than me. Interesting. Yeah. All right. Interesting. Jamie, Natalia, can you remove Brad from the show immediately? So, all right. So I want
a quiet strength. I feel like he's
our controller. I couldn't do anything without him, to be honest. Like, he does all the books, he does all the payroll, he does all the call reports.
Yeah, all the shit you were talking about before, but the high producers don't think about when they want to go open their own shop, about all the compliance, the legal, the paperwork, the bullshit. Yeah, that's all me. So they still don't have to worry about it.
Right. Well, we were smart enough to say, Brad, we need someone to do that. And then that's all he does now, though. He doesn't, that's all he does.
Yeah, and it's a lot. So you're welcome.
So, Jamie, I want to talk to you about the state of the industry today. And what challenges you see for the broker channel today, because there are some challenges, right? You're in California. Jumbo loans aren't really spectacular in our space, right? And you live in a world where, you have a higher loan limit on the conventionals, but there's jumbo loans everywhere, right? In California. And unfortunately, in our model, currently, the way it sits, Wells Fargo is going to blow us out every time because they have, the assets, right? And that's been the case. So other than that, obviously, what kind of challenges are you seeing in your market with the broker channel? And what would you like to see improved?
I think other than the jumbo, which is still a huge divide, although it's starting to come back a little, we're starting to see some lenders, like, believe it or not, Finance of America has come out strong with the jumbo. A couple of
I like Finance of America. They do a good job. Yeah.
I've actually closed a couple of jumbo loans there in the last couple of weeks at fairly decent rates, and I did get them from Wells, so I was able to grab. And by the way, they're Wells products. That's their investor, so that's why that happens. But other than that, even Union Bank, I'm still approved with them as a broker, and their rates are pretty rough. Jumbo is a product that we are going to have a struggle with until another couple of lenders comes into the mix to give us some relief. Equity lines are still a bit of a challenge for us. I do have a couple of lenders coming back into the market for those. Not that I want to do them that badly, but there is a need when a borrower's maybe wanting you to do something concurrent. I want to have control over the whole process and not have to send them elsewhere for part of a transaction. So that's difficult for me. But then I think the other piece, and you guys are going to be with me on this, is the service, which is definitely a byproduct of the production volume that everybody's seeing right now.
Yes, that's what I want to bring up. Yeah.
UWM is about all we have because of the technology platform that they have and the staffing volume that they have isn't facing it. But there's not another lender I know of that isn't experiencing service level issues. And it's as a broker, it's hard because particularly with our purchase transaction, you just kind of have to, you're either under-promising, rather over-promising and under-delivering, or you're dragging every loan through the process to get it over the finish line, and that's a tough thing right now.
Yeah, so the audience understands kind of, go ahead, Brad, you got something. Go ahead.
I would say UWM is still experiencing some service level issues. It's just they're so minute compared to everything else out there. It's like they aren't, because they're just so much better with their process and their service. Like, if it takes an extra 12 hours to get an answer from UWM, it's nothing compared to, like, I just got an email that a lender we have is wanting 114 hours lead time to schedule a closing. 114 hours.
Yeah, they've got their turn times based on
wild.
hours. And and I'm sorry, guys, I know the company, and I think it's fucking idiotic that they keep going with hours. It looks so bad, just even from a marketing standpoint. Go to days, dude. It'll look better. Like 3 days or 5 days is way better than million hours. So just little things like that drive me nuts. But to your point, Jamie, we are having and there is a volume issue in our industry. And what I'm really annoyed with, Jamie, to be honest with you, is as a lender, we knew this was coming, right? And some of these lenders tried to buy the market by having lower rates, and they got flooded, right, with a lot of applications that they were not overstaffed for or designed for. And now we on our side, and everybody's having these issues, banks, credit unions, you name it, everybody's having volume issues because everybody's busy. But I'm disappointed in the foresight in our investor group that weren't prepared to like bulk up for this. What, Brad?
I wouldn't say I'm disappointed in their foresight. I would say I'm disappointed in their choices, because that was a conscious choice. That was a conscious choice they made when they tried to buy the market. They knew they were going to be understaffed, and they knew they were going to suffer from the volume. They didn't care. They still chose to buy the market and get the business and let the service suffer. They made that.
But you sent like our team sent loans. Like, it's not their fault. If there's a market for it, they're going to do it. So I don't blame them that much. But they should like, I just think like
they should have been caught up by now. They should have been able to hire and staff to catch up the service levels.
Jamie, if you got 50 more loan close deals a month, right? You would have to me personally, if I knew I couldn't close those efficiently and effectively, the money isn't worth it to me. I'd rather make a process where everybody's, because client experience to me is numero uno. Reputation for us is numero uno, right? People have to walk away happy. Our real estate partners have to be happy. Our clients have to be happy that are getting the loan, and our internal people have to be happy. Those are our three clients, the way that I look at it, right? And if like during COVID, right, I didn't know if we could close a loan because credit lines dried up, right? We stopped taking applications because I didn't care. I didn't want to fuck people's loans up, if that makes sense. 3 weeks, right?
We didn't take applications for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We would blow up our team here if we tried to double or triple our volume just for the sake of saying, oh, wow, look at all the business we can bring in.
Revenue, right.
It's not fair. And then, okay, so let's think about this. One transaction that you overpromise on. You've got, let's call it a purchase. You got 2 realtors screaming at you, at least 1 buyer screaming at you. They're all screaming at my team screaming at the lender, everybody's screaming at me. Think about that. Now multiply that by however many of those you took on that you shouldn't have. It's not right.
Worth it. You want success stories, dude.
Happy and everybody's pissed at you.
Yeah. Not only the people directly involved, they're screaming back and forth, but they're also whispering to the people around them. So it affects way more people than the people directly involved alone.
Bad service travels much faster than good service.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It really does.
The problem with the lenders, and I've talked to a few leaders at some of the lenders. I've started talking to them back in even like April, May, when the stuff was really hitting. Some of them hedged by about 30% for staffing, still didn't hedge enough, and COVID hit and they had to shut down their offices. And so it was like, okay, come on. This is the perfect storm. We hedged for growth. We didn't hedge enough, and COVID hit and we couldn't even have people in the office, and some people quit or, whatever the case was. So that happened, and that was legitimate. But then the other piece is all of the lenders are trying to hire at the same time, and there are only so many people. And so it's like everybody took on more volume than they could, and everybody's out there looking for the same bodies.
Well, what's really frustrating, Jamie, is a lot of these companies, for what it's worth, they might actually have enough people, but their technology, they didn't fucking put money into their systems to make them like one thing that UWM has done, that is with a lot of things actually, but Matt's done a really good job. He decided to have a really good system to provide the best value, to organize things. He's got the best process. It might be annoying, guys, where he's like, look, your turn time's 24 hours for a CFC, whatever the fuck it is, right? But it's systematic and it happens. And there's, at the very least, you have expectations that you can live by, right? Let me know exactly how it's gonna be. But when you put a file in and the turn times go from 1 day to 14 days, it's like, whoa, dude, right?
And the most genius thing he did was that, because he made it to, like what you said, Jamie, was there's a lot of people trying to hire, and they're all trying to hire from the same group of people, right? Well, think about Metro Detroit. You got Quicken Loans, you got UWM, you got Flagstar, you got
Home Points in Ann Arbor.
It's a massive place of people trying to pull from the same pool of applicants, right? But Matt, by making everything so simple and systematic and everything, he could hire anyone and train them to do X portion.
Plug and play. They're in charge of the whole thing. Yeah,
it's not a specialized of position anymore. So he can hire, and they're growing like crazy in this massive pool of people that are all fighting for the same jobs.
Well, the volume exposed everyone. It exposed every lender's inefficiencies down to the most basic level in operations. It exposed the lenders who probably were operating at horrendously inefficient levels, even with low volume numbers, but they eked along because the volume was low enough that people were able to cover for process inefficiencies. But when volume is that high, it can't work anymore. And so now the technology lacking, the inefficiencies and workflows all bubbled up to the surface, and there was just too much volume for it to be hidden any longer. And so now you have a situation where you have too many loans, potentially not enough people, insufficient technology, and now you're trying to fix all of those things and change behaviors and processes and technology during a time when people have too much work. It's like the most horrendous disaster I could ever imagine as an ops leader, and I am glad I'm not working for a lender right now trying to unravel that.
Yeah, dude. Like Matt always told me, Matt's a process guy, and he's like, your process has to always outpace your volume. You better be able to handle, because I remember we were there and he got caught with his pants down. I was actually at the company, and there was a change in rates, and like he said, I'm never letting that happen again. Like he said that. He goes, his turn times got strained, and he was like, forget that. I'm gonna have millions of people underwriting and processing files. Right. And that's what he did. And it's working. So I want to ask you this, because we're running out of time. Matt obviously is worth a lot of money. His business now is going to be very, very cash rich. He's going to be able to do a lot of different things. He'll be able to do servicing now. He'll be able to hold on to that and potentially give us different products. And I think Matt is really positioned well to help us out a lot in the broker community, to be able to give us a lot of opportunity, because he's going to get a lot of opportunity. He's going to pass that on. What do you see changing in our space? Not just with Matt, but in general, right? What's good? Like now that we're having historically, mortgage companies were not like Wall Street ready, or Wall Street wanted nothing to do with them. All of a sudden now you've got billions of dollars being poured into them in two companies here, Quicken and UWM. So what do you think that the institution money is going to do to our industry?
I think, Finance of America also recently just
had you're right.
a similar announcement, which didn't surprise me. But I think that UWM has become the gold standard and the example that other lenders want to follow. I think that many other lenders have already been owned by hedge funds. Cardinal Financial is one. You're going to see others follow suit. You're going to see others try to emulate. I hope they do well, because Matt will be the first person to tell you that there's enough room in our industry for many other lenders to support brokers, much in the way that UWM has. I hope others do. I hope others take a page out of UWM's playbook and say, we can do better. We can have better processes, better technology, better support for brokers, better service. Those are the things we need. If we want to compete out there, it's not just about rates and pricing. It's about being able to be quick and efficient for our customers and close the loans in a very, very fast turn time, so that we're out there competing with Owning and Better and all of the other lenders out there that are doing things in weeks instead of months. And so that's what's going to make us win. That's the last missing piece for us. We have the products. We have all of that stuff. We need the speed. We need the service. That's what we need. Yeah,
being the cheapest, it doesn't do anything for me, right? Because we're a purchase shop mostly. Like we're like 60-40, but refinances are gravy to us, right? Like they'll always come. But like for me, like I have a friend, right? And I can get him a quarter less in rate, but I know we won't be friends anymore. He's going to hate me, right? He's going to miss his closing date potentially. The people buying his house are going to get pissed because he can't get out, right? There's a lot of things that could go into that. So it's not worth it for me to take that quarter. And I'll even tell my clients sometimes, like, listen, I can get you a better deal. It's not going to be pretty. It's not even worth it. I'm going to put you here. And if we need to refinance, we will. But do not put yourself in a bad position for the rate. And some people do. A lot of shops across the country are so rate driven that because I think what we have to do, Jamie, as a group, as a broker group, is make a better value proposition other than just interest rate. Because historically, it's like interest rate, lowest rate, but the lowest rate people never prosper. You know,
and it's a crazy thing because there's so many different shops out there. We're all fishing out of the same bucket. Like we're all getting the rates. The rates aren't that different no matter where you go. Like it's really not that.
But LOs, like I swear to you, if we made a fake rate sheet, if we made a fake rate sheet for LOs and every rate was a full point higher than market rate, they would sell it because they thought that was a great. You know what I mean? Absolutely. It's all mental. It's all perception.
It did that a few years ago. It was like.
You did that. I remember that you did that. So you added like a half point all our rate sheets to pad everything because and
they know the difference. They sold it.
That's what Quicken did, Jamie. When I was at Quicken, we sold the highest rates, and they still are the highest rates in the industry by far. It wasn't even close, right? And you would just sell them because we were brainwashed to be like, no, we have got the best, and you're like, you had no idea, right? And once you get out there, and you're like, holy shit, I was ripping people off, right?
Is reality.
Yes.
Totally agree with you. And I think that if we become more organized in our collective voice, and I say it all the time, if we become more organized in our collective voice and we have a message that is more than rates, we will affect change. We can affect change very easily, by the way. Because lenders are listening. Guess where they're getting their business from? Us.
And we're growing, right? Yeah. Why are so many people in Brokers Are Better so whiny?
I don't know, but I'm getting tired of it.
Dude, just such bitchy, like complainers, like so many victim mentality.
By nature are generally whiny.
I actually like. I love our
group of people together. There's going to be a large portion of them.
Yeah, but bro, this is ridiculous. Like, I love the people that I know personally in this space. I really do. Like, I enjoyed talking to Jamie at this thing. I enjoyed talking to Frazier at this thing. Like, I enjoy these people, right? But then you get into these like. This. I'm like, I don't have. How much time do you have on your hands to throw that much negativity into the world and continue? And I'm like, dude, I just can't do it. Like, stop fucking complaining and go do something. Jesus Christ.
I've had similar side conversations with people where I've actually, like, instead of blasting them in the group, I've actually had a side conversation and said, do you realize the way that you come off, and do you realize how negative it is, and do you have something positive to contribute? And if you don't, why are you here? Because honestly, it's not at all productive. So just FYI, this is how you come off. This is how you're being perceived. It's not working for any of us. And P.S., how do you have time? Because I barely have time to read it.
This is what I feel like. Like, I feel like when I open something up and I get some negativity into my world, someone just shit in my fishbowl and I'm sucking in shit through my gills, right? When someone's in my office and they're just being shitty, like, I'm like, leave. I don't need, go somewhere else because you're shitting in our fishbowl and now we're all swimming around in your poop. And I don't want to swim around in your poop, shithead.
We have so much pressure and so much stuff that we have to overcome every day with, just like we talked about, the service levels, all the stuff we're dealing with. Like, if we cannot be positive with each other, and we don't have space. I don't have mental space for more negativity in my life right now. So
yeah, awesome. We're running out of time, so I want to get to our 3 questions, and then I'll get you out of here. So first question is, what scares Jamie Cavanaugh?
Ooh, failure.
Mm-hmm.
Not just for myself, but for all the people that rely on
Don't you look forward to failure so you can succeed too? Like, it's like such a double-edged sword, right? Failure, I don't want to fail, but then when I do,
I'm here to fail. I've been through the mortgage meltdown. No, I don't.
No more failing. No more failing. Got it. Okay. If you could be any human, past or present, for a week and live in their body, who would it be and why?
I want to be Betty White.
Betty White was hot when she was younger, dude.
But she's just a badass, and she's still kicking.
She is a badass.
Dude, she's awesome. Betty White is awesome. You know, she was literally born before sliced bread, from what I heard. Something like literally, she's
bread. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and she's funny as shit. I like that. Would you like to be her today, or when she was younger?
I'd be her when she was younger, but her today, the wisdom is next level.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you're not collecting wisdom as life goes on, then you're an asshole. Brad, do you have a question you want to ask, or do you want me to get the last one?
You can do the last one.
Yeah. If you could eat whatever you want and never gain weight, but you can't taste the food ever again.
Oh, that's brutal.
Right? But you can eat whatever the fuck you want. But
what's the point?
You can taste everything, but every time you eat something, you gain a pound.
That is some jacked up shit. What do you mean? I'm Italian.
Would you rather eat whatever you want, but you can't taste it, but taste everything, but you gain a pound every time you eat anything?
Okay, fine. So I can look at the food,
yeah,
but I can't taste it?
You cannot taste it, but you can eat as much of it as you want.
Because I'm vain and I don't want to gain the pound, so I'm taking option A.
Imagine
brutal.
like looking at a nice steak and not be, or like whatever it is, like you're, like not be able to eat it. Like that would suck. Like not taste it. Like that would suck.
At least I'm not gaining the pound, so I'm taking option A.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it, Jamie. Listen, Jamie, I absolutely love you to death. Your energy, like when I saw you, I was like, this bitch has got it. Like you're on it. Like you're smart. So keep on the good work, dude. If the audience wants to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you, Jamie?
You can call me anytime. Call 805-296-1470. Email me, j.cavanaugh, CAVANAUGH @amerifund.com. Check us out at amerifund.com. Find me on Facebook. God, I'm everywhere lately, so just look me up.
Yeah, dude, you're everywhere.
We need to do this again because this was super fun. This was like
we will do it again. I love doing this. I like having smart people. Go ahead, Brad.
So we do it every week.
We do it every week. We've done over 112 episodes. How many episodes are we in, Natalie? Do you know?
This is 125.
125. Dude, I remember we just did our 100th when Matt was on, like way back when. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Probably like 25 weeks ago.
Exactly 25 weeks ago, because we do a show in a week, right? Yeah. So, Jamie, thank you so much, dude. You're fucking awesome. I can't wait to see you again. You're the best. We'll see you soon, okay?
Killing it, guys. Take care.
Be good. So, yeah, she's it's nice to get perspective from someone in a different market, right?
Yeah.
But it's funny how like it all kind of is the same.
It's all
thing.
the same.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
It's all the same thing. So I'm going to go. I think this is the end of the show today. Brad, you were amazing. I think you are better without Sal.
Look, so I don't like cutting people off. So I talk more.
It's a talk show. It's a podcast talk show. That's what we do. We talk.
But you don't cut people off. That's rude.
Yeah, no shit. So listen, anybody that's still listening to the show, if you made it this far, call me at 586-242-2468 and I will send you $1. Yeah. I want to see if anybody actually makes it to this point of the show. What do you think? $1 is not enough?
I just don't agree with that, but okay.
You don't agree with what?
Well, that whole thing you just did.
Well, it's coming out of the company. It's not my money.
Well, no, that's not happening.
All right, guys, please go subscribe. If you listen to it, please give us a thumbs up, hit the notification, give us a review, write a review. I'd like to see more people like writing some reviews for us, because it's like on if you're listening on what's that, Apple podcast app, whatever it is, iTunes. But we love you. Thank you, Natalie. Good job today. Okay, we are done. Goodbye. Peace out.